what the devil usually succeeds in trying to do with us as people is he always succeeds in making us put the cart before the horse. Do you understand what I mean? We chase after the wrong things. We chase after what was actually ours. You know how funny that is? We chase after what is actually ours, but we struggle so much and we believe, I must get this. And then in the end, you discover that it was actually yours. It was actually yours to begin with. But you had to trade so much to get. And God needs a committed person. And we talked about discipleship. That's the story of discipleship. It's not just believing, it's also being committed. Earlier this morning, I saw a video from Justin Bieber, and I was actually just blown when I watched the video of the interview that he had. And then he was talking about how he used to have this belief, he had a wrong belief of being a Christian, of just believing and then not, it's not affecting my life. I just believe it and I'm living anyhow. But then now I've come to understand that being a Christian is not just believing, but it's also committing to it and living according to what I believe. So it's staying away from the sins and staying away from all that. I said, now this reorientation now helps him. And that's the truth about Christianity. It's not just saying I'm a Christian. Like I said, some people are Christian by birth. What I mean by Christian by birth is I was born in a Christian home. Some are Christians by filling a form. You understand what I mean? When you're filling the forms and they say, what is your religion? So that's when you identify and say, I'm a Christian. But in actual sense, are you a Christian? Many times when we say, I was singing this song, you lead, I'll follow. You always say this thing. Use me, Lord, I give you my heart. And we always picture as if Jesus appears here in the full picture. When he says, if Jesus appears here in his full regalia, and he says, let's go, you go, right? Because you're seeing something physical. And then he's overwhelming you. He's, oh, Lord, Lord, I will follow. But Jesus says, blessed are those who don't see me, and yet they believe. You don't need any physical appearance. You don't need to see somebody putting on a white garment, appearing in your room, and the light shining, and you're my daughter. No! It's about your commitment to what you have believed. Actually, our walk in the kingdom is a walk of faith, right? And we don't need to see anything. We just believe in our hearts. And once we believe, we follow it through. So the Lord needs your commitment. He doesn't need you to honor him with your lips, He needs you to honor him with your heart. Praise God. And that's what this whole, and actually, it's still under the spiritual growth we're talking about, because it's part of what would allow your growth forward. Because when you keep, like I was mentioning last week, is that your hand is here, okay, you're laying the sacrifice, you're giving your life as a sacrifice, but then the other part is here. You're not dead. And somebody says something, you don't cast away the flesh, you crucify the flesh. And when I heard that really stuck to me. You don't cast away the flesh. You don't go, Lord, I bind the flesh. No. You crucify it. You die to it. And when you die, you say, oh, Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. This life that I live is not mine. I live, yet it is Christ who lives in me. So basically, you know what that means? I'm not the one alive. If you open me, it's not Tunji inside. If you open me, it's Christ inside. Christ is just wearing my body. And that's the essence. So when Christ is wearing my body, so when Christ says, let's go there, I should not be saying no, Lord. In the dictionary of discipleship, there should be nothing called no, Lord. In fact, no and Lord are two opposing words. You should not even say that. So if he's the one controlling me, if he says get in that car, I don't say I want to use a bicycle. Praise God. But that's the commitment that the Lord desires from us. So today I will be talking about something in line with this also, which is the heart of flesh, or the fleshy heart. Praise God. The fleshy heart is still part of spiritual growth. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. Ezekiel chapter 36 in verse 26. Ezekiel is right there after the book of Philemon. If you find the book of Philemon, you find Ezekiel after that. And there. Ezekiel 36 and verse 26. It says, a new heart also will I what? Will I give you? Then verse 25 it says, then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness and from your idols. I will cleanse you. And it says, a new heart also will I give you. Notice, a new heart. And a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a what? A heart of flesh. You see, the problem with man from the beginning, after the fall, it was not the outward actions. It was the what? The state of the heart. The heart of man became corrupt. And when we see two types of hearts that the Bible is talking about in Ezekiel chapter 36 and 26 here, you see one is called the what? The stony heart, and then the what? The fleshy heart. The problem with man had always been the heart became so corrupted and became so stony, it was impossible for such a heart to be molded, to be changed, or to even yield to God. If you notice in the book of Matthew chapter 12, where Jesus was talking about the heart, he says, out of the abundance of the what? Of the heart is what the mouth will speak. Because it is from the heart that what? Evil thoughts and all these desires will come out. And these hearts are not responsive to God. You see, when man fell, in the Garden of Eden, and then when God said, in quotes, that's the biblical theme we're talking about here now, in the Garden of Eden, when God said, you can eat of every other tree, including the tree of life. But the tree of the knowledge of good and what? And evil, do not take out of it. And this was like this was now God giving man the chance to choose who determines what is good and evil. God or man. And when man chose the path and said, yeah, we want to decide what's good and evil. And what we have seen in the heart of man is, well, every time man is choosing between good and evil, they will always defaultly choose what? Evil. Always go along with that. That's what we see. So from that day, from that moment of fall, you realize that there was a problem with the core of man. When we talk about heart, in the New Testament it's called cardia. Now the cardia is like the core of a man. Praise God. That's where the entirety of you is in. That's what makes up your mind. That's what your spirit is also working with. Praise God. It's the core of you. It's what makes you you. That's inside. And that's your heart. And the truth is, you can only bring forth what your heart is. That's the thing. And this was the problem with man from the beginning. So you find man was the heart was so hardened and so that it will not respond. Now, in case of what we're talking about, the focus is the heart responding to God. It was almost impossible for them to respond to God because the heart became corrupted and stony. Now let's talk about a stony. When you see, for every time there will be, let's say we're using this cup for communion now, and for us, can we reshape this communion cup the way it is? Can we? No. We can't do that. If we try to do it, what's going to happen? That's the end. Why? Because it's what? It's hardened. But I got to watch a video over the week, on Facebook, and I was seeing how they were working with steel, and when they're casting this iron, oh my God, they put this stuff into, the fire. When I looked at the fire, I was like, no, I don't want to go to the fire. Praise God. If hellfire is literal, I don't want to go into that fire. Because they put the iron in there, and the only way they can beat the iron into shape is when it is at the what? The melting point. And then you find them carrying this and beating it into different shapes. Even when they were trying to carve glass and stuff, I saw there's so much heat that they were putting in there. But when the thing becomes dry and cold and becomes hard, you can't do anything except destroy it. That's the same thing with the heart of man. The heart of man became so stony, it wasn't responsive to God. It was doing nothing. And what happened? It became so stubborn. That's why God does not say, let me read the NLT. NLT says, I will give you a new heart and I'll put a new spirit within you. I will take out your stony and stubborn heart. A heart that he says, do this, I'd rather go the other way. Who has been more stubborn than Israel? That's what God says in the Old Testament. He said, who is more stubborn? They are so obstinate, so stiff-necked. You know, in a stiff neck, have you ever slept on your neck before? And you wake up and you can't turn. And then the wicked thing that happened when I was in high school is when I slept on my neck and I couldn't turn. So my friends were crazy. So they knew the part that was, weak and stuff. So they would call me from that angle. They just say, Tunja, you know I'm trying to turn and realizing that now they are trying to just make fun. But yeah, when you have a stiff-necked person, it's almost hard to turn it. Because he wants to continue to look at one place. Praise God. And that was the same with the people of God. The Israelites were so strong. Now, let's look at what happened. These guys were in Egypt for how many years? They were saved. You remember all the plagues that happened, right? All the plagues that happened through them, through God, and Moses was declaring all these plagues. They saw this mighty power of God. They marched out. In fact, the day they marched out of Egypt, it was historical. I like how the Bible says, on that self-same night, Pharaoh drove every one of them. And the Bible says, they even left with riches and gold. Praise God. I like that pastor. That pastor said, when they moved the riches and gold, is it that they were going to buy things in the wilderness? They didn't need it. But they moved with it. God blessed them with so much. And then when they were running, the Bible says they got to the Red Sea, they started complaining, right? So see now, you have brought us out here to die. Moses parted the Red Sea. I keep saying this. To me, one of the great miracles in the Old Testament is parting of the Red Sea. So I keep picturing the Mediterranean Sea parting. I keep picturing it. One day I went to the beach with someone there, and they put that drag net, that these balls that stop, that's the demarcation for sharks and all that. So, I was already feeling confident in my swimming abilities. So, and there's a way of swimming makes you feel like you've known how to swim, especially when you're able to stay underwater for some few minutes. And then you do that, and then you feel so. I started feeling so cool. Praise God. And then I was going for that. I said, you can go for that. And then I was doing this. And then I was doing this particular stroke. I did not know I had gotten to a place where my leg would not touch the ground. I'm 5 foot something. So by the time I was tired, I was like, okay, time to rest. As I decided to stand, and the person that was with me, I was not wearing my glasses. The person that was with me was just there reading on the, so they didn't know what was going on. So as I just came, tried to touch the ground, I couldn't reach it anymore. And that was where I knew this is how these Nigerian students die. That's always where I knew. And so I was now trying to, and the funny thing again, pride will kill. Pride is the first thing that kills you before any other thing. And then there were people around, but I did not want to shout help because I've been showing that I could swim from before those guys were there. So I now started. I lost my I lost my breath. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth in Christ. I like it. I lost my breath. I was not saying, oh Lord, I'm not going to die today. Of all the ways to die, it's not going to be that one. Praise God. So, and I wasn't preaching the gospel. I would have said, oh, let me go home. But praise God. So I did that, and I started catching my breath, and I was coming up. And then eventually, to God who made me, my toe, the moment my toe touched sand, it was like gripping for the last whatever. So I started moving till I now stood and I breathed. I just left the water. I got there and I sat. And when I sat down, the person that was with me was wondering what's going on. I said, that was how I almost died. And you did not know. But I'm not going there for now again. Let me just, praise God. That's the first thing. Why did I give all this? I'm talking about how me, a 5'8" or something person, could not touch the ground. And there's a part where even if you're 6 feet, you won't touch the ground. Now imagine that water rising and parting ways for you to walk on dry land. That's amazing. That was amazing. And yet, you see this mighty miracle done. But you still get into the wilderness and say, Moses, why did you bring us out here to die? We prefer to be slaves in Egypt than to come out here. Are you seeing how the heart is being stubborn towards God? And then when God was going to speak to them, he told them, they saw the thunder, they saw the everything. If I was a mother, they said, no, you know what, go. We'll stay here. Because this thing we are seeing, we can't behold it. You get what I'm trying to say? And then he goes on the mountain. And Moses is there taking all the commandments, and by the time he gets back, what has happened? They built cows, a calf rather, with their oh God Almighty, praise God. Isaiah says, This is a foolish person. He goes into the bush, cuts wood, comes back home, makes chair with the wood. Then what is left of the wood, he makes an idol, and then he bows to that idol. Can you see that foolishness? That's the same thing they did. The Israelites who are just seeing the power of God, the Israelites who are just seeing the miracles of God, get to that point where they now melt their own earrings and necklaces and made a calf, and then they started what? Worshiping. That's why Moses was angry. He got angry. What is this? Praise the Lord. But yet, this is a stubborn. But do you know the funny thing about it is God knew from the beginning that the heart of man is already desperately wicked. And the only thing that could possibly take care of this is what? Changing the heart, not the outward actions. The law was put in place, the Bible says in the book of Galatians, the law was put in place for what? Just as a custodian. It was like, let me keep it so that it doesn't go haywire. Let's put something in check. Let's put something in place. And even though the law was there, it still did not transform their heart. Praise the Lord. Rather, the Bible says, the sin through the law, what did it do? Exerted its power over them. Praise the Lord. It made them more aware of sin, and then it made them even more stubborn. Now, that's not the law making them stubborn. That's sin taking advantage of the law. Praise God. And why is that actually? That's because the heart is stony, not responsive. And then God now says, I will put my spirit within you, and I will take away your heart of stone and put in what? The heart of flesh. Look at the next verse, what it says. In 27, it says, I will put my spirit in you so that what? You will what? Follow my decrees and be careful to obey my regulations. While they needed to read the law, get this, while they needed to read the law to follow regulations, now this new transformation that happened or that has happened via salvation, that's the death of Jesus Christ, and we accepting will become a new person, is going to allow you don't need to read the law. You now know the law by heart. It's inside you. You know what he wants. You think like him. Praise the Lord. No, instead of having to ask somebody to say, is this good or bad? You're already seeing it from his angle that this is bad. Or you're already seeing it from his angle that this is what? This is good. Now, that's the fleshy heart. That's the heart that is responsive to him. Praise the Lord. So when God said he was going to do that was the promise of salvation actually. And then now, after being saved, after being born again, we receive his spirit. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians, it says that what? We have now, if any man be in Christ, he has now become what? A new creature. All things he's now a regenerated person. Now, this regeneration, this renewal, or this recreation is no longer that of a stony heart like those of Israelites who were stubborn towards him. But no, it's now a heart that is responsive and that knows the Lord. Remember it says, and you will not need to teach each one about the Lord. For each one will what? Each one will know the Lord for themselves. Praise God. And that's the fleshy heart that the Lord puts in us. The fleshy heart is the tender heart. The heart that is malleable. Now, so we're talking about clay now. We now talked about, I said clay, I talked about glass and copper. Right? Now imagine if you want to reform clay, or you want to build a clay pot. You don't do it when it's dry, or it's not going to do anything. But what's going to happen? You make it tender. You put water in it, and you mix it. You know it says I'm the potter, and you're the clay, right? Now you mix it, and then at that tender nature, you form whatever it is you want to form. You form till it becomes so strong, and if this is now your idea, you get it dried up. This makes sense. Now, how does this make sense to you? Why am I saying all this? Because of course you receive Christ. Of course now you have the fleshy heart inside of you. The issue is this. Is your heart responsive to him? Continually. Praise the Lord. Are you continually? You know, I heard a man of God was saying something. He said, you see, God will not place you in that place of leadership fully until he is sure that your heart is fully responsive to him. When he was saying that, these are the stages you will go through as a believer, blah, blah, blah. You do this, you do this, you do this, you get to this. But God will not entrust you with things so important until he is sure that your heart is at that place that it says, Lord, use me as you will. Not my will, but yours. And so the job from the day you get born again is continually on the state of your heart. Although it is fleshy, although yes, you have this Holy Spirit inside of you, but he continues to work on your heart and he's saying, you know what? This is what I want you to do. Get to that point where you fully surrender it to him and your heart is responsive. Praise God. What's the tender heart? Now I'm not talking about the tenderness of somebody who was not born again. Please listen to this now. There's a difference between somebody who is not born again, who's not regenerate. And that person is tender. The person is having a teachable heart. These most times is as a result of upbringing. Maybe some people not born again, some people got born in a family that has good morals, right? So when they grow, they are able to stick to good morals. That's not this kind of heart we're talking about here. Do you know why I'm saying this? Because if this set of people were also born in a bad home, they will grow up with the bad morals. Get what I'm trying to say? Because that's not the regenerate heart. That's not the new heart. I'm not talking about the tender heart that is responding to law, legality. When you come to church and then they tell you this thing is bad, at that moment you're excited, or at that moment you're very sober. I'm a sinner. After church like this, you look at those here and be like, I don't want to talk. The words that pastor said this morning is hitting me. I need to change. And you go back home, brethren, I will change. I have to change. 2 days after. 2 days later. 24 hours. Or so after, you have forgotten the mood you were in on Sunday. It's as if that Sunday, those ones are just, outward tender heart. I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the heart that has internal locus of control. Irrespective and regardless of what happens around, the focus remains the same. The heart remains the same. Irrespective of whether I am in a bad environment or I'm in a good environment, the heart is there saying, Lord, it's you. Remember when Joseph was with Potiphar's wife? Remember what he said? He didn't say, I'm sinning against Potiphar, right? He said what? Can I do this and sin against God? You know the story about David and Uriah, when they killed Uriah, and then Nathan came to talk to him, and Nathan says, you have done this, God is going to do this to you. He wrote it, I think, in Psalm 51 or 52. He was now singing a song about it, and he says, God, cleanse my heart, against only you have I sinned. That's what David said. Was it against only God, he said? Was it? He killed a woman's husband just to take over the woman. Praise God. But he did not do it because he knew whose focus his heart was on. Okay, what I'm trying to say? Now, this is the kind of regenerate heart I'm talking about. A fleshy heart that is malleable, that is open to corrections. The heart that is open to direction. Not the heart that stands. You see, there are still some believers who, yes, you have this, you've got it born again, you have all that, but whenever correction comes, boom, you turn the other way. And you know what happens? Psychology has told us. We usually develop something called defense mechanisms whenever we're in the wrong. I noticed something and I look back at my life that every moment I was making an error, in that time I had explanations for it. In that time while I was making the error, I had explanations that would defend my actions. But when I look back, I realize it was all error. And that's what we do most of the time. We don't want to listen. Especially when these errors are bringing us what? Pleasures. But the Lord is looking for a heart who will say, Father, I hear you. I'm ready to make changes. That's why the Bible keeps saying, constantly renew your mind. You have the Spirit inside of you. You have, like we began, the first anchor scripture we said is what? He has given us all things pertaining to what? To life and godliness. But the problem is, for the believer, even though you have the fleshly heart, the problem today that I see is we are refusing to take corrections from scriptures anymore. Or rather, we are refusing. We are no longer taking it. So, we will go in there. I would rather stick with Philippians that says, I can do all things through Christ, who what? Who strengthens me. We would rather go with 2 Corinthians or 1 Corinthians 2:9, which says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man what God has prepared for them that love. Somebody say, God loves me. God loves me. These things are beautiful. We will go with the part that says, I am the most precious. Because the Bible says, ye are a what? A chosen generation. A royal priesthood. Come on, give glory to God who has called you from darkness into his marvelous light. You will say these things and they make you feel good. But you will run away from the part that says, flee every appearance of evil. When the Bible is saying, you are proud. No, I'm not proud. I'm only declaring who I am in Christ. Hallelujah. The heart that will take the blessing of God but wants to remain the same. It's almost as if you are given a fleshy heart, but you are like the Israelites craving for the stony heart. Can this generation take corrections from God again? Can we actually say to God, and not to me, not to the pastor? No, not to Brother Toby in case you're having sessions with him. No, not to Victor, not to anybody, but to God, saying, Lord, I repent. Can you say that? Praise God. You know, when we used to say this thing about repentance, you know, the society circle started saying a Christian does not repent, or a Christian repents. Then we are talking of different cases of repentance here. I'm not talking about turning from darkness to light. I'm talking about changing your attitude or changing your ways and becoming that person that Christ wants you to be. So are you that person who can say, truly, truly, Lord, I repent? You see, David bore the consequences of his sin. You know, they told him, they said, your family, this will happen to your family and all that. But you will still see the repentant heart in him. The heart that goes back and tears himself and says, oh Lord. You know, God will say, I think it's Zechariah also, where he says, Zechariah Malachi, one of them, he says, rend your heart, O people of Israel. Don't come on me. As long as you are fasting, but also make sure your heart is rendered towards me. You are accepting correction. So we can talk of spiritual growth, and you are thinking of the places of how you are, I'm this one, this one, see, I have this fruit of the Spirit, that's good. But you're not focusing on the part where he's doing this. You know, it's like chiseling. You know, he's beating. Oh, we don't want him to beat us too. We don't want it. It's almost as if this generation is comfortable with continually saying, I am born of God, I am son of his light. This is beautiful. But more beautiful is also allowing the light of God to flow through us. So honestly, can I ask you a good question? How many times have you opened the Bible and you are reading a particular flaw in the Bible and you are thinking of another person in this church? You are not thinking of the flaw in your life. I mean, as you are reading it, your mother needs to see this part. That's what you're thinking about. Praise God. Well, as you open up the Bible, and the Bible says, busybody in other people's matters. If I mention it, I'll cause one like this. Praise God. No, then your mind goes through that. She needs to see this thing. That's why she'll be talking everywhere. I'm talking about you. Isn't it every man study to be what? To be quiet, minding your own business. You're not thinking of how it affects you. You know what Jesus calls you? He said, you hypocrite. There's a huge log in your eyes that you can't see. You are concerned about the speck on another person's eyes. Is your heart responsive to God as a believer? You see, where a heart continues to remain confident and complacent in the wrong direction, two things are happening. You are either stubborn or you are not saved in the first place. Because they must, Keller says, the mark of spiritual growth is struggle in your heart. There must always be that war in you that is saying, this is wrong. Should I do this? I'm not comfortable doing this. I keep saying this thing. This is not about, is it okay to draw tattoo on your back? That's not the question here. The question is, how are you responding to His Spirit inside of you? Praise God. The fleshy heart. And daily, I heard that teaching of fleshy heart from Brother Billy Akoni, and I wrote it at the back of my diary there, talking about if God wants me, because he was speaking to us as what do they call this thing? Ministers of God. And he was saying that most or often, all the time, for you to be an effective minister in the hands of God, He ensures that you get the message that you are His instrument to play with. And if you're not getting that, you will continue to go through this series of lessons and trials and all that until you get the message. Because an effective minister is not one who speaks to crowd. How do you know that? An effective minister is one whose words are blessed of God. You get what I'm trying to say? And so he was drumming at them, and now I'm realizing, truly, I'm glad that I have not put myself in some certain positions that I wanted to put myself in. Or I have not picked up some many things I thought I wanted to, because now I realize I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And there are times I delayed readiness by my own obstinate or stubbornness. Praise the Lord. Now the question is, how is your heart responding? So when somebody calls you, or a member of the church, or calls you and just says, you know, Bosie, this thing is wrong. Please leave me. You have your own too. I'm not. I know that I have my own. I know. If I have my own, why don't you call me? You know, there's something that I used to tell the brother there. I'll say, I hope you're keeping quiet. It's not so that you know, let me say something. You know, sometimes you keep quiet at what our brother in Christ is doing, or sister in Christ is doing. Do you know why we're keeping quiet? Because we will do our own, we don't want them to talk. Psychology. Yeah. Some of you do it. You're just quiet and holding now this morning, praise God. But you know how you do it. You keep quiet. So when the person is making an error, you say, no, you know, I don't interfere in people's lives. It's not my business. It's a lie. Praise God. So two brothers are staying in the same house. And this brother, movements always happen 10 p.m. Praise God. I wouldn't explain it. So movements happen around from 10 p.m. on the other side of your room. Praise God. And you notice this, but then you keep quiet. He's a brother in Christ, one of you are coming to church. Both of you do Bible study together. You know this very well. You keep quiet about it. Why you keep quiet? It's because you know that you also wish to have such movements. And when that day comes, it will not have the mouth to condemn you. Hallelujah. So when that day eventually, I'm being serious about this, because I'm always direct when I say things like this. But that's the truth. So you keep quiet. It's the same way with every other thing. You see somebody going headed for a ditch. And people still try to tell me, say, you know, don't correct me, don't tell me. But the question is, how do you see it that somebody is headed for a ditch and you say it's none of my business? You know, there are different modes of correction. There's a correction you can give that doesn't demean the other person. You can always say things in a normal way, but you don't keep quiet. But what I'm trying to say is, at this point in time, it's almost as if our hearts are responsive to grace has saved me. But when it comes to correction from God, the heart is not fleshy anymore. The heart is all of a sudden stony. And that's opposing your nature. The Bible says, we are not controlled by our, Romans chapter 8, we're not controlled by our sinful nature. We are controlled by our spirit nature. Because the Spirit that raised Jesus Christ from the dead is inside of us. So we have every obligation to the Spirit. So every time we are disobeying the obligation to the Spirit, we're going against it. And that's us trying to say, no, we don't want God to work on that area. And that's the funny thing. Do you know many of us when we start praying and we know there's some things God wants, we don't want to mention it in prayers because we don't want Him to work on it yet. We are enjoying it. And yet you don't know that it's those little foxes that are actually what? Pulling you back. Honestly. Yesterday I was doing a whole lot of reflection in my life. And I was realizing that many of the advancements I was supposed to have made were delayed or drawn back as a result of the little foxes I was allowing. Honestly. If I had never done some certain things, I don't think I'll be doing what I'm doing now. Or I'll be where I am right now. Honestly. But glory to God, I've learned lessons from that. But that's the truth, it's little foxes. And usually when those little foxes are coming in, the scripture gives you some correction. Let me tell you how it happens. It's that time that all of a sudden you will see one random scripture. You will ignore it. It's that time you come to church, you will raise one random prayer that is attacking you. But the funny thing about it is whenever light attacks the heart, God is expecting that when that light hits your heart, you're responding and saying, oh Lord, so this was wrong. I repent. But it's almost as if this generation is saying, you know what, light, get umbrella, straight. So as the light is coming in, you put in a shade that blocks the light and say, no, I don't want the light in this particular part. It's touching you. It's too bright, right? Praise God. But God has put his new spirit within us and he has given us a heart of flesh. You remember the parable of the seed, the sower? And then he says, one was sown on the what? On the good ground. We all, as believers, we are the good ground. However, it says some brought forth what? 50, 60, 100 different folds. We all have good grounds here. But we determine how this ground will yield more inside of us. And that's the fleshy part. Hallelujah. The tender heart that responds to correction. We can't talk about spiritual growth if you're not ready for the scripture to correct you. If you're not ready for the Holy Spirit to correct you. James was talking about that. If you read his book, he was trying to tell you, y'all keep saying that I have faith. But there has to be works. There has to be actions backing up this faith. How is it possible that the same fountain that is bringing forth good is also bringing forth what? Bad. What's going on? How can we get so comfortable with evil if there is not evil in our God? Why? And it's always because I'm not talking about evil that wears horns. That's for Nollywood. And anything that is against God is evil. I hope you know that. No matter how good it appears. If it opposes God's word, it is evil. So how does your heart become so comfortable there? If your heart continues to get comfortable there, then there's a problem. Either you are a reprobate. Because the Bible says, since they refused to retain the knowledge of God in their heart, what did he do? He gave them over to a reprobate mind and allowed them to do anything they want to do. That's the difference between you and an unbeliever. You see, an unbeliever does not have boundaries. Please, let me tell you, no matter how morally sound they are, nothing is putting boundaries for them. There is no extra, nothing. So they can do as much as they want. Because they are not regenerate. But you have a boundary. You do. Honestly, there is no such thing as living my best life as a Christian. In quotes, in context. Get what I'm trying to say? Because the context of living my best life is I want to do what I feel like doing. Humanism, whatever makes me happy. That's not Christianity. If you do whatever makes you happy, do you know what made you happy one time? Some of you, what made you happy was pinching the other child. It's the truth. There were those, because of them I did not cut skin when I was in high school. Because what made them happy is once you have skin, from anywhere you are, boom, that's what makes them happy. When you samba your head, you just be sitting somewhere and that's the most disrespectful thing that will ever happen. And it will be done by the person that can bully you. That's the thing. So you be sitting there and say, answer the question. Which question? Oh, there. Answer the question. Just go like that. So because of that, I stopped. I maintained my dignity. Praise God. I mean, if you're to go by what makes you happy, some dangerous things make you happy. Do you want to test your heart? Do you really want to test your heart? Praise God. You see, there is no limit to what you can. I tell you, I can bet you, all of you say that you don't know your capacity until you're face to face with it. That's like, I cannot kill someone. You think those that started killing, they planned it. From their bed, they were dreaming that I'll be killing people. Do you think they planned it? It starts from the first one. You see, and sin as it is. Spurgeon says, what we say familiarity breeds contempt. It is opposite is the case for sin. Familiarity does not breed contempt with sin. It actually encourages more sin. When you say you get too familiar with someone and start disrespecting you, after a while you don't like each other, right? But that's not the case with sin. With sin, you love each other more. And the idea of sin is to get you to that point where your heart does not respond to God again. When you now start saying, I don't care. And then you now start seeing people giving crazy interviews like, before I used to live my life under the fear of what will God say, all this. But now I'm free. And ever since I did that, I feel so happy. It feels like a burden has left. You are joking. If I am joking. Praise God. I feel so free. You're not getting it that something is happening to your conscience. You get what I'm trying to say? There's something happening to your conscience. Let me tell you. What was it? What changed? Somebody said, did they update the Bible and we didn't know? Is there a new version? So what changed? What changed? You got born again, you were so strong, something in your heart told you, don't do this. I like how Sister Jo said it earlier. She said, now there are some things I can't do again because I'm a believer. Please, that should be your talk. Honestly. We are born servants of who? Of Christ. Although we are free, that freedom is in quotes. We are free, but not free to live our lives as we will. That's why the Bible says, do not use this as an occasion to what? To serve the flesh. So we are free, but we're also born in the same way. Praise God. So when you get to that point where you are dropping standards continuously, something is going on. I don't care what defense you give. I don't care whether you say you have understood grace in a better way. I'm telling you something has happened in your heart. When your standards continue to start dropping, it's not bad to do this. We can live in this world without condemning other people, right? And yet without dropping our standards. Honestly, you can do that. You can be in the midst of the worst of sinners and you will still be saved. Get me? Without even trying to make them feel less of people. No, you can do that. But I used to ask this question, when somebody says something that, Jesus used to move with the what? With the sinners. I said, I hope you know Jesus had a mission. And when he was moving with the sinners, he wasn't losing himself. He had a mission. His presence there brought transformation rather than their presence with him transforming him. I hope you know that. So I hope when you are saying that you are moving with sinners, you also have that same mission. Because if you don't, then you are joking. You are only just lying to us. You are only just looking for defense. Except you truly have a mission, and then in the midst of them, you are going out there to show them God's love, right? Preaching the gospel to them, and that's your plan. So when you hang out with them, even though you're all talking and laughing, your heart is set on that one mission, knowing that no matter how long I hang out with these people, this is what? This is my plan. Now one day I'm able to, bring the gospel to them. You're getting back home, and you're raising each one in prayer. Please, if you're not doing any of these things, you are joking. Don't come and post that scripture for us. Let your heart receive correction. Praise God. When Paul was talking, he says, if you had this kind of life before, don't live it again, now that you're in Christ. He said, let him that steal, let him what? Still no. But let him what? Find job to do. If any man is not working among you, let him know what? Let him know. Don't turn him to the church. He has to go look for a job. Now he says in Ephesians, he says, you were once children of darkness. Now you are what? You are light. So what do? Come out from there. Read those parts of the Bible too. Not the blessings part alone. Don't do this morning devotion of saying, I'm picking the Bible, the word speaks to me this morning. Paul, thank you, Jesus, I go with this word. This is beautiful. But also go to those parts where Paul was addressing issues in church. Because he did the same thing. Praise the Lord. Go to those parts where your heart. So now check it to yourself. How many times has the Lord said, don't do this? And your heart is truly saying, oh Lord, I don't want to do this. I repent. Or you make the mistake. I'm not saying you cannot make mistakes. We all make mistakes. You will err. But the question is, where is your heart? Is it fleshy or is it stony? As a believer, do you say I repent often? So when that man said, ever since I got born again, I have repented from that day and I've always kept repenting. It's the truth. That's the difference. But the day your heart stops repenting and sees nothing wrong, the Bible says in 2 Timothy, I think chapter 4, it says in the last days, there will be nothing sacred. There's what I mean by nothing sacred. They will not treasure the things of holiness anymore. Nothing is going to be important again. No Christian value is important. It's not sacred. Everything is normal. Respecting the other person is not normal anymore. I don't care. Backbiting, tearing down other people, bearing false witness. Bible didn't change. God didn't change. It's the same God. The only difference is now you have God's law inside your spirit. Praise God. And I remember I posted something earlier. I said, if you cannot pray about this thing, you cannot discuss it with your pastor, chances are that things are not going to bring chaos in your life. Honestly. If you find it hard to pray about it, it's already telling you that this is opposing God's word. Whatever you can't start and say, okay, let's commit this act into the hands of the Lord. You understand what I mean? You can't do it. Because if your spirit is telling you, how will you pray about this? Thought that fire. Praise God. But honestly, so what is your heart saying? Conversations. Scripture says, let our conversations be great, right? Be seasoned. Let the words that come out from our mouth, let them what? Let them edify other people unto the praise of God. Not, and then the conversations are coming out of your mouth. And they are not edifying. Praise God. Please. As we walk on spiritual growth, let your heart continue to be fleshy towards Him. Let your heart say, use me as you will. I am yours, O God. You are the water and the clay. My tender heart is with you. Do whatever you want. And when you do it, I will follow. When you say stop this, I will stop. When you say focus on this, I will focus. As I'm speaking now, there are so many things that the Lord speaks to your heart. You are part of His body. And the truth about it, Jesus is not going to love you any less. He loves you the same. That's how you're operating from the place of love. That's the victory you have. So I was talking with someone, long chat, and then she was telling me about how she wants to stop some certain things. And I said, you know what? There are so many things you want to stop, but you've been so long in this thing, so you can't stop it on your own. Can you do something for me? Every time you want to stop this, can you pray to God and just tell Him, even if it is 30 seconds, that Lord, I'm willing, but I want you to do it. He will do it. He will prune you. He's the husbandman. You're not the husbandman. A tree can't take care of itself. A tree can't trim its leaves. It's the husbandman who does that. So you commit yourself to the husbandman and say, you know what, there's so many weeds around here. There's so many overgrown leaves around here. Lord, can you just trim it? I'm willing. Instead of putting a guard around your heart and putting a guard around the tree and say, Lord, don't touch it. I believe in you, I'm in you, but don't touch me, don't touch me. Don't take this, don't take that. I'm feeling good with this. Praise God. So whatever addictions we struggle with, I'm about to close. Whatever addictions, whatever things we struggle with in our heart, can you genuinely stop being stony and just say, God, work with me on this. I am willing. And it's not with your lips, but with your heart. With your whole being, just say, Lord, I'm willing. Work with me on this. I have anger problems. Work with me on this. I get jealous easily. Work with me on this. Why is it that when my friend is making it, I start getting envious? Something is wrong with me. Don't defend it. Don't say this is how I was born. No, that's not how you were born. Yes, you were born a sinner, but you're no longer a sinner. You are born of Christ now, so that's not how you were born anymore. You were born pure. Praise God. I badmouth people a lot. Father, work with me on this. I have something called kleptomania. You are not a kleptomaniac. You know what kleptomaniac is? You can anywhere you find yourself, you have to help yourself. Praise God. Your hand can't stay in one place. And you just take it. Praise God. You know that those friends who come to your house and then your shirt just goes missing. Have you had those friends before? If you're in undergraduate in university in Nigeria, there are friends like that. They come to your place, they want of your shirt to be gone. You just see them wearing it, say, I borrow one. No way, I'm going to return and praise God. If you're that kind of person, instead of defending, stop putting up defenses. Stop saying this is how I am, this is my personality. I know, yes, a lot of things have contributed to how you are today, but please, can you allow the Lord work on your heart? You have a fleshy heart already because you're a believer. Can you? Praise God. Am I making sense to you? Please do that. If you have a problem with hatred towards people, there's a problem somewhere. You hate this one, you hate that one, you hate this one, you hate that one. It means your heart, something is going on. Let Him work on it for you. And you'll be amazed at how easy it will be for you to love. Because if you try to love by yourself, there'll be a problem. Glory to God. Some of you have gone through a lot of things that have made you so bitter. And it's not allowing you to allow other people into your life. Because you've been betrayed over and over and over and over again, or you've been abandoned, you've been this. So because of that, when people try to get close to you, you slam them with stay the hell over there. You can't relate as a believer. Ask the Lord to work on you, and you'll be amazed. You know what He's going to show you? He's going to show you how many times we betrayed Him. He's going to show you His hand. He's going to show you His legs. He's going to show you His bleeding. And He says, you did all this to me, but I still love you. And when you see that, say, God, I'm this bad, and you still love me. Then when the other person is doing something, say, what you are doing now cannot compare to what we did, what I did to Jesus. And so for that, I forgive you. Forgiveness in the heart. Let your heart be flesh on this. Let your heart be flesh. Let it be. Towards everything and towards yourself. That's going to help your growth come out faster. And you will stop committing some certain errors and cycles all over again. Praise God. The reason you're in the cycle, the reason that cycle continues to happen, do you know why? It's because you have not learned the lesson yet. You've not got the message yet. For as long as you don't get the message, that cycle will repeat itself. But the day you eventually get the message, you're broken out of it. Let's rise up.